Good evening. Welcome to Rock, Paper, Hand Grenades. My buddy Gary here.
Yeah.
He forgot where he was.
I don't have any idea where I am. You realize how windy and cold it was yesterday? All day? You were out there, right, John?
I was out there.
It was wicked bad.
Yes.
You know, there's a young lady that ran in Ware, Leah Cushman, and she won yesterday. But man, she had this 3 signs totem. I thought she was going to end up on the other side of the parking lot. You can see a bracelet holding it. You know, it's pretty.
Oh, it's
great.
like the Wizard of Oz. Wind.
Oh yeah, we did. Yeah. How do you?
It was bad.
It was wicked bad. I was freezing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm still waked out. I'm still wicked tired.
Well, then that
I
poor
used
kid
to-
from Texas. He's a half hour from Texas. I can't remember the town that he said he was in. I'll try to find out. He took my cell number, and he took one of my sons.
Yeah. The kids that were.
Yeah, they were up here
out.
supporting me.
I know.
And I'm
They came all the way up?
Yeah. Some group paid him to come up here.
Should they vote?
And yeah, he should have. I hope.
They could.
He
I
was there
learned
one
that at
day.
the polls.
But I said, so you're from Texas? He says, yeah. The coldest weather I've ever been in was 29 degrees, and I think that was pretty cold, colder this morning. I'm dying up here.
Oh my gosh.
But he's a half hour from the border, and I said, because I said, are you near where the wall's being built? He goes, oh yeah, ours is all done. And he said the crime rate right into the toilet.
Yeah.
No crime rate.
Well, yeah, but I'm sure that was on national news that the crime rate went down.
No, I didn't see it on CNN.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
That's bizarre. Really.
Oh yes. But then what happened is he said that it's pillars, so you can see through it.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know it was pillars.
No,
I thought it was
was
like slated slats or something.
Yeah, I thought it was walls too, but he said no, it's pillars, and then there's something in between, but you can see through. Because the Border Patrol was saying, look, we got to see what they're doing.
Right.
Which is smart. So it's kind
Like
of cool.
if they're on the other side digging a tunnel or something.
Yeah.
Which they do a lot of.
Yeah.
So, if anybody's been watching the news in the last 24 hours, it's pretty
Right.
confusing. But I've put together a graphic that should clear it all up.
Oh, good.
It's very
Okay.
concise. It's what we know right now. Let's take a look at this graphic. So, it's pretty clear.
That pretty much explains it.
So that's the State of the Union at the moment.
Yeah, it's got the blue and the red, and
Yeah,
is
it's got
that
some
yellow?
yellows and purples in there. It's got the whole LGBT rainbow crap going on in there too.
Yeah.
So,
Wow, that is good. That's
Yeah.
very, very
So-
enlightened of you.
yeah.
So, Lynn, what did you see? Lynn, oh yeah, our guest today, because you forgot to introduce them.
Oh, I forgot.
Yeah, you
Nah,
forgot.
we just started chatting. Everybody knows our guests.
Anyway,
these are some of our best guests.
Representative-elect John Burt.
No, I'm not elect.
He's
Yeah, it's
already
You
representative
around.
elect.
You're already a rep, right?
Yeah, so I'm
Yeah,
already.
but if you're gonna you're just elected again, you're gonna sworn in again, so you're representative-elect, right?
So
No.
you too,
So
right?
you're
not-
representative-elect and
Representative, yes. Because at midnight on, I think it's December 1st or 2nd, whatever
right.
Tuesday is,
Yeah.
there is no representatives and no senators
so therefore
from midnight to 10
Right.
a.m.
right.
Oh.
So there's like 10 hours where we're free to
Why did
just
you
do what we
advertise
want.
that? There could be pandemonium. In
Well,
those
that's
10
it.
hours.
Yes.
Oh.
So, people are going to run wild down the streets, naked and everything else.
There's no health
That's
ethics
me.
rules to follow or anything.
Yeah.
No. Oh, I probably should shut my phone off. Thank you.
Guys.
I'll forgive you
was
someday. So our other guest is Lynne Blankenbeker,
The one
who
ringing over here.
whose phone's bothering her. So you were because you're an attorney, you were
Right.
actually doing pole
Pole
I was
challenging.
going to say pole dancing. But that isn't right.
No, I said it sounded. That's probably the sexiest thing I've ever done. Is been a pole stander.
Pole stander.
No, I was a pole POLL.
Oh, that's spelled
challenger.
differently. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yes, I was. It was a very interesting day. I had all of Concord. So I had Concord wards 1 through 10.
Now, what does a poll watcher do?
Well, poll watcher, a poll challenger, a poll stander, and a poll attorney are all different things.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
Yes. Okay, so poll stander obviously is somebody who holds your signs. They stand outside. And
Oh, okay.
You guys need. I'm talking to some reps here. You guys need to get. I'm gonna give you some things I need you to do over the next 2
Yes.
years.
You're gonna have to make a list because
Yes.
I'll forget
I'll
tomorrow.
give you some things to do.
All right.
And then your poll watchers are people who just stand and observe, basically. And then there are poll challengers, and we're the ones who you get a letter from the Secretary of State or from your state party, and then you're allowed to go in. There's a certain corralled off area, a guardrail,
Right.
and you get to sit close enough where you can hear the process. And then when the absentee ballot process is going on, you can actually be over there observing that. And,
Right.
and you have the right to challenge.
Right.
And then as an attorney,
Now, can they deny you? Let's say you went into one of the polls in Concord because you've already been assigned to those polls. Can they say no? You're not allowed in here.
not if you have a letter. They don't have to let you in if you don't have the letter. But if you have the letter, they have to let you in. You stand behind the guardrail, and then you stay for whatever time you want. And I will tell you, folks, there were 3 Democrat attorneys to every one Republican in Concord, and they had people from Boston and Vermont. I met all kinds of lawyers on the Democrat side. They were very well organized.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, not that we weren't. We had a lot of trainings. There was a lot going up to me being at the polls, but it was very, very interesting.
When you say there were a lot there, was it nefarious or were they just keeping an eye on things?
No.
Because
They
it
were
really
keeping
doesn't
an eye on
matter to me
things.
if they had 100 lawyers if they're just there watching to make sure everything goes well.
No, they had the exact same training that we did. Their role was to make sure they had poll integrity as well,
Okay,
or
okay.
ballot integrity as well. And it was really interesting because at one of my wards, there was a Democrat man who came in who was giving our poll challengers. I had 3 women there. That weren't attorneys, and they were giving our poll challengers a really hard time. And the man didn't have his letter, and he was really loud, and he was being disruptive, and all of those things aren't allowed. And so they kept, they started calling me and saying, "I need you to, diffuse this."
What
So
side of the fence was he on?
he was a Democrat.
Oh, thank you.
So then I happened to be at another ward where there were 2 Democrat attorneys, and I said, "Hey, look, one of your guys is kind of, creating a problem over at Ward 1. Could you just get over there? It's making your party look pretty bad." And she was like, "Absolutely." So I had a really good rapport with the attorneys. We had some lovely conversations, and we were all really there for the same reason. And if I noticed something, I would alert them because I wanted them to bring that up as well. Like if they weren't properly processing the absentee ballots, for
Yeah.
example, because they have every right to challenge as well, too. And so it worked out really, really well.
Yeah, that's actually one of the cool things about New Hampshire. I think there is abuse of the system, absolutely, but I'm still pretty confident in the results.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that I discovered was our laws. When you can just say you intend to be in the state for 30 consecutive days and you're not here to do...
What happens if a person says, I intend to live here, quote unquote, which means stay in the state for 30 days, and there's evidence that they leave after a week or the next day.
They've already cast their ballot.
Right.
And there's no
Right.
crime.
But
And there's no crime. There's no consequence. That's stuff that you guys need to fix in the house. That's one of my bucket list items for
Okay.
you.
We can do that now, right, guys? Because by
not necessarily.
current counts, we've
Oh yeah, that's the good news. We're gonna say the good news.
by current count, we got the good news is here in New Hampshire, we have flipped the House to
Yay.
Yes.
GOP majority.
Yeah.
We have flipped the Senate to a GOP majority.
15-9.
We have flipped the Executive Council.
What is that number?
4-1.
4-1.
4-1.
Have we ever
Oh,
been
yeah.
4-1 in the
To
executive
I don't
council?
think so.
So, if there's ever a time to get moving and move fast, guys,
Yeah.
I'm counting on you. You
Well,
got,
no,
you got 2
keep-
years
keep
to
in
do
mind,
some
if
really
you-
good work.
If you move too fast and too aggressively, especially because we don't really have wait, let me finish. So we don't have a super majority, and if you try to go too fast, then the people rebel, and then in 2 years they kick you all out and they put the Democrats back in. So
But I
you don't
do
want to
think-
go. You don't want to go
I
crazy, go
understand
nuts.
that, but
I
we
think-
also don't want to be too timid because
No,
we've
I
seen
get-
this in the past. We've seen what we believe are very conservative presidents, senators, legislatures be too timid and simply back down when challenged. And that's what I'm kind of saying. Don't be timid in this term, guys.
Right.
That's my request to the two of you.
Yep.
And which one of you am I going to be referring to as Mr. Speaker here pretty soon?
Not me this time. I've thought about it.
I'm running for hall monitor.
Hall
Yeah.
monitor?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a very prestigious.
Oh, he's good at
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, my first term, he told me, he says, you give me your lunch money, and I will protect you from the bullies.
You were protected though.
I never got bullied.
He never got bullied.
Yeah, so it must have worked.
Oh my gosh.
So the first thing, I'm telling you, the first thing we need to do with a majority house, well, obviously we're going to elect a speaker, right?
Yeah.
But the first item on that docket has got to be firearms and hunting training for everybody in the house.
They need that.
They need that. We need
Yes.
to get everybody
In
you know,
constitutional training.
Yes.
Constitutional training.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I have to.
So this is for people
if
at
they
home.
can pass, yeah.
This is kind of we're being a little bit sarcastic. What it was is last year they made us go to this training where we all learned how evil men were and how abusive they are.
White men.
White men specifically for I don't know how many hours, and if we didn't take the course, they
Reprimanded me.
reprimanded you, and they reprimanded John.
Yay.
For
even
not
though-
taking the course?
Oh
For
yeah,
not
I wore
taking
that with a badge of honor. It was so funny. They Sherry Frost even said she's the for the ones that don't know, she's the effer. That's every other word comes out of her mouth is the F word.
Okay.
And she tweets. That's what it's called, tweet or Twitter or whatever it's called. And she goes, "They just won a lot of votes." Because she said for 4 hours we wasted our time. I mean, I got up there and gave a 30-minute speech about my mother and my chickens, and I mean, I was like, what else can I talk about? I'm going to use up 30 minutes, so whatever filibuster is.
Right.
I used every ounce of
yeah.
minute I had. And at the end, they still reprimanded me, and I'm like, sweet. The second they did, I already had it set up. I get on my Facebook, change my Facebook profile to the vote
Right.
of the reprimand. I said, I just got reprimanded. Thank you.
Yeah. I decided last term I try to pick my battles.
Yeah.
And I knew that what they were trying to do was in a sense not constitutional.
Yeah.
But I also said, well, okay, let's give the benefit of the doubt. Let's go to the course. And so I went to the course. I lasted about 2/3 of it because the course was that they wanted us to take was on what did you call it? What did they call it?
Well, sexual harassment.
Sexual harassment thing.
Yeah.
They weren't
I already
teaching.
know how to do that.
Yeah, I know. I do too. So I didn't understand why I needed to learn how.
Yeah.
But anyway, so every example, I made a joke out of it at first, but every example they gave was a white guy doing something to a woman or to another guy. It was, and so finally I went up to the to ask the question. I says, why is every example, if this is supposed to be sexual learning how not to harass people, why are you harassing me by only using white males as the example of people who do the harassing? That is harassment to me.
It is.
So I think it goes to the audience. I'm not trying to defend what they put up there because I wasn't there, so I don't know. I'm not going to try to defend it. But let me just tell you a couple things that happened to me as a woman in 2020 running for Congress in the state of New Hampshire.
Okay.
I went to a debate that was all men. I was the only woman because I was the only female for federal candidacy, right?
Right.
One of the questions that got asked was, who would you rather have, Ginger or Marianne?
For what?
Okay, it's 2000.
No, I mean, this is a debate, and what was it?
It's a question. And so, right.
I don't even get the question.
Ginger or Marianne from Gilligan's Island?
Like who I'd rather be with, you mean?
Right. But as a woman, I could have made a big deal about it, right? Because we're 2020. We need to stop objectifying women. There were lots of questions that you could have asked me that would have distinguished me between the other candidates as to whether I thought a particular man or woman was attractive or not, right? I mean, I was running for
attractive? The question about attraction even relevant in a debate anyway?
Thank you. And it was a debate. Okay, that happened in 2020 in New Hampshire.
Right.
So, and I'm not a woman who's easily offended. I live in a man's world. I will tell you that right now. 75% of the United States Navy is men, but we don't tolerate this kind of stuff. When I'm in my uniform, I am a sailor. Nobody sees my gender. They value me for my perspective, but they don't see me for my gender.
Right.
And so I think, and again, I don't want to, because I wasn't there, so I can't talk about the motivation behind that. But you got to remember, guys, it is 2020, and the state of New Hampshire has never elected a woman in the GOP to the U.S. House.
That's true.
Wow.
Okay?
Yeah.
And so we fight so hard to be equal. But we're not when men ask the question, who would you rather have, Ginger or Marianne? Okay, we're not equal. I was also told right before my debate, and I don't want to tell you who it was, but it was somebody, a man in leadership, that I was, quote, too blonde to be a congresswoman.
Really?
Now, they never would have said that to a man, mostly because most of the men are older and they have gray hair.
Yes.
But first of all, I don't have blonde hair. So why would you even say that to me?
That is a ridiculous statement also.
Right?
Yeah.
And so my response back, which I probably shouldn't have responded at all, but my response back was, well, the United States doesn't think I'm too blonde to be a captain. They did not think I was too blonde to be a commanding officer. The United States Supreme Court does not think I'm too blonde to be a member of their bar, and my patients don't think I'm too blonde to take care of them. So I don't know why you think I'm too blonde to be a congresswoman.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's 2020, folks, and so it's still out there.
Yeah.
And, and so maybe...
I get that. Okay, so in my defense... I totally agree with that.
I do too. Yep.
Okay, but to me, if somebody is acting inappropriately, you address that person. You don't make everybody go to a damn class.
Right. I agree with you there.
They hire these imbeciles from frickin' D.C. to come down and tell me what a...
Well, here's the other thing. So I've now started a women's leadership series because we don't have Vesta Roy anymore, and we've really talked about
how Vesta Roy?
Vesta Roy was the first woman to ever be governor of the state of New Hampshire. She was only governor for a minute because she was appointed when there was a governor a long, long time ago who died or was incapacitated. Okay, so she really was never an elected governor. We've never had a GOP, I don't think, elected governor either.
No, so you're running for governor?
No. Oh. But I am running a women's leadership series. And so what I wanted to do was help women, kind of level that playing field. Because I've been polishing the glass ceiling, trying to break it for a long time. I tried to break it in 2018 and couldn't. I tried again in 2020 and couldn't.
Right.
But as a leader, I know when to stop and then start grooming somebody else to be ready to break that glass ceiling. So I've polished it and I'm chipping away, but we're going to get another woman up here who's going to run. And there are a lot of really qualified, incredible women who can run. And so, but it's up to us. If you say something that offends me, I should say something to you.
Yeah.
Right? And if you say something that's offensive to him, he should say something to you as well. We shouldn't be asking for special treatment, but we should also be allowed to use our voices, right?
Correct, yeah.
And we need to know how to do that. And so that's what I want to help the women do, is I want to start with, and I hate the word empower, because as soon as you start using the word empower, it starts sounding like we're training a pit bull, and I don't like that. But I went to an event recently. It was an all-women's event, and it was a lovely event. And one of our women, a Republican woman, was asked to speak on women empowerment, and she's a leader in this state. And she stood up and she held the microphone and she hung her head and she very quietly said, "I'm really nervous talking in front of large crowds. It intimidates me." Well, that's not empowered.
No.
And so we need these strong voices to stand up and say, hey, look. So
Yeah.
this is a great opportunity. Running for Congress.
But in all fairness, I've met a lot of guys in the legislature
I have too.
who are equally intimidated to speak to. I've met I was sitting next to a guy. He went to, I forget, Harvard or one really great school. He had so much better credentials than I'll ever have. And I said, and he explained to me an argument we were having on the House floor. And I said, why don't you get up and say something? I said, I couldn't do that.
But did you ever say you're too
How
blonde?
does someone run an election and not know how to speak in front of someone
I don't know.
or a group?
It is different.
I don't think it's everybody's forte. You know, I mean, it's hard. You have to talk to constituents and you have to be comfortable. For me, my style has always been to tell a story. Telling stories is easy because when you tell a story, it's you, and you
I
don't
just
have to
make up
memorize
lies myself. But
There's a lot of people who do that. And but as a commanding officer, I had to stand in front of 909 sailors over in San Diego and ask them to accomplish a mission. And some of those people I had to send to Afghanistan, and some of those people I had to send to Djibouti, and some of those people I had to send to some scary places. And when I asked them to go out with the Marines and be on the front lines, you know, I had to be confident. I had to be compassionate. I had to be, you know, I mean, I had to be a leader. And so I have had the tremendous opportunity to develop leadership skills. And now I want to share those so that we can get that strong woman that can stand up to Ann Custer.
No, I think that's.
well, I think you could have stood if you would had that opportunity. I think you would have kicked her butt personally. So.
Well, the voters didn't think so. And
that's why I always support you because I
Thank
know
you.
you would
You.
be awesome.
Well, I'm going to work on grooming some other women. I'm going to help some women, Leah Cushman, some of these younger women who, you know, are just getting started, and I want to help them be that strong voice, and not the strong voice for women, but the strong voice for New Hampshire.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
That's what I want to help them be, and so that's what we're going to start this series, and I think it's going to be tremendous, and it'll be an opportunity for us. It'll be like when you guys go play poker, right? But
don't
most of the
play
time,
poker.
well, or whatever you guys do, right? Guys,
Like, I don't even do
Who's
the
got
beer
money to
caucus.
play poker?
I don't know.
You can have a nickel, Annie. But anyway, enough about women.
Well, and for the record, when I owned my business for 20 years, I personally, and that's why the Democrats didn't beat me up about not taking this, I called it a sex ed class, you know, sexual harassment class, is because I trained it myself in my business.
Right.
And how that became, if you don't, I'll be real quick, is, you know, I owned an arborist business, a tree business. We took one tree a day down that was over a person's house, and the more windows, the happier I was because I could charge more.
Right.
So we were going down Railroad Street in St. Johnsbury, Vermont, and I had this kid working with me. I was probably in my year 6, and I didn't have any training prior to that, but all of a sudden he gives this cat call out to this really beautiful woman. And I go, you know, I said his name. I said, "What are you doing?" Well, then after that, I started looking it up and saying, okay, you know, what kind of training do I need? Because that's inappropriate.
Right, right.
So then from there on, all my
Well, I think
employees
that
were
goes
trained.
to the root of the issue at the State House about this mandatory training.
Yeah.
Is that just by nature of the people that are in the State House, probably every single person there has gone through this type of training at some point or another, right? I myself at Maine Maritime Academy and in Navy ROTC, it's par for the course. You have to take these classes, right? And there should have been, you know, some acknowledgement that the folks
We've
there
already had it.
No, you
taken
had to
it
take
and-
their hate
Right.
white
And-
man
and
class.
Exactly, and that's the difference. Is that the class was very focused on a particular, essentially punishing a particular demographic
Yeah.
within the, and that's not
I-
what sex harassment training is about.
It is not.
Because it does include reversal of roles, right? And not just in a sexual manner. It's well, you're a female, so you can't do this job, so you're not going to get promoted. That's sexual harassment. It's not anything to do with the bedroom.
Or if you do
Or-
this, I'll promote you.
Exactly.
But it goes
that
both
comes
ways.
that
Yeah,
comes
it does.
from all
Absolutely.
genders and all people who identify different ways sexually, right? And I think that's the problem, is that this particular class was not designed for that.
No.
And it was clear that this was purely designed to focus on middle-aged white males. That was their protest. So,
Well, it's actually older white males. I used to be
Well, it's
middle-aged
probably
a
the
long time ago.
demographic. I mean, I hate to say it, but it's probably the demographic of the House. If you look at the U.S. House of Congress, it's 96% white male. Now, I don't know what the new demographic is because of the recent election, but in 2018, it was still 96% white male
Really?
As compared
Wow.
to the Democrats, which were 66%, and they had more minority and diversity. So when you put the freshman class of 2018 of GOP next to Democrats, it looked very, very different.
I'm sure that's the case, and it is the case. But I think it's not because GOP in general is sexist or misogynist or whatever when it comes to things like that. It's that when we go to the polls, it's not a popularity contest, and it's not just, oh, I'm going to pick this person for my VP candidacy because she's a minority or because it's a woman. You know, there's and we don't think that way.
Well,
It doesn't mean that
I
we
think
don't
by
believe that there
nature-
are strong women and minorities in our party.
Well, I think by nature, as the GOP, we tend to be very conservative. We tend to be very faith-based. We tend to be very traditional family, and we tend to very much value family. And so when you think of a traditional family, you think of a dad who goes to work and a mom who stays home and raises the children, right? And we still think of some of those traditional roles for women, and there's nothing wrong with that. My best job I ever had was staying home and taking care of my daughter. It was the most, it was truly the best job. It was the hardest job I ever had, but it was the best job I ever had. So I don't want to dismiss being stay home, take care of your kids. I don't want to dismiss being a homeschooler. All of those things are wildly important, and I think we should embrace all of that. I don't know why we fall into this trap that we do, but the numbers clearly tell us that's where we are as a party. Again, I don't want to kind of pick on our party. What I really want to do is use this as an opportunity to start springboarding into how we as a group of people, and I'm talking about the entire body of the House of Representatives, can learn how to mutually respect one another for who we are and what we bring to the table, and not our gender or our party or whatever. I hope that this is a great opportunity for you guys as well, because I was in the House with y'all,
Yep.
and we've forged relationships with lots of people across the aisle.
I just
in
hate
your
the
party?
Irish personally. Hey, so I love this subject, but
No,
I
we gotta
want to
move
talk
on.
about the election.
Yes.
Also tonight.
Yes.
Which
John,
which one?
So I don't.
Local?
So
National?
John basically didn't even have to campaign because tell him what your opponent did.
He was going, he made a video, and then also he was talking to people saying that he would support an income tax
And
End of story.
in common sense gun control in Ware, New Hampshire. And I'm going, sweet, thank you for
Common sense gun control.
blabbing your mouth
Yeah, that works.
as much as you can for an income tax and common sense gun control.
There you go.
And then he beats me up on GTV, Goffstown TV, about my strong stance for the Second Amendment and no tax increases. I'm like, thank you.
thank you.
I'm
Your
just,
opponent did all the work for you.
oh, he did. I'm just hearing the votes just, John Burt, John Burt, John Burt.
I love it.
I'm just sitting there, and
Oh
I
my
did write
goodness
it down.
gracious.
He is the largest vote that I've ever beat.
Yeah.
The largest margin.
Yeah, margin. I got 9,087 votes. He got 6,507 votes, a difference of 2,580 votes.
Now you didn't put as much money in this one as you did last time either.
No, but other
You didn't
groups
have to.
did.
Oh, the other groups
Yeah.
did.
Yeah, other groups. I'm estimating, and I don't know how this works, but I'm guessing, probably $8,000 was spent to
Wow.
keep me in my seat.
Wow.
And
But you're valuable. I mean, you are very valuable.
well, I don't see it, but
No, you
that's
are.
what I've been told.
Yeah.
You know,
well,
I
you're
had-
also in a floater, so you get a lot harder
Yes.
district.
I had national groups here. That's where that kid from Texas and other national
Mm-hmm.
groups. I had 2 or 3 national groups helping me win, going door to door for me. Just pounding the street saying, "Vote for John Burt. Vote for John Burt."
Wow.
And it was pretty impressive, when they got that way, because they knew I was a huge target. The Democrats spent a lot of money to unseat me.
They did?
Yes.
Because you're a derelict and you wouldn't do their sex
Yes.
ed course.
Yeah.
When you've been reprimanded, you have no business being a representative.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and then, before the polls closed on this Goffstown Facebook page, this, Democrat lady started lipping off. And I said, well, I just want to thank the Democrat chair of Goffstown for helping me get elected and my opponent for helping me get elected. They helped me because they would go up to my signs. For one, they would beat them up every night. I would have to go and, fix my signs every night because they didn't steal them because I put GPS trackers in some of them. And this is true because they were stealing so many of them. One year I lost 135 signs. That's about
a lot for a state,
$800.
right?
Right.
And so I found these little GPS things and I inserted a few of them, and I couldn't do all the signs, and so they would just go up and just smash them on the ground and then walk away. So the next day
So you never, none of them ever get stolen with a GPS?
I did not lose one sign this
He
year.
has a great sign protection system.
Yes, I love yours.
Yeah.
That's what I should have used.
Yeah, I like it. Now, if anybody needs signs, you can have my bag signs and the wires. You can just turn them inside out and use a Sharpie and write
That's
your
true. Yes.
I have about 2,500 of those.
Wow.
You can just people saved them.
Yeah.
People were like, "I saved your signs for the next election." They're very sweet. I'm not
Yeah.
running again.
Yeah.
You got to run for governor when Sununu moves up to the federal level because that's where he's heading.
I heard we have lots of good candidates thinking about governor.
Nah, but nobody's as nice as you.
Oh, well, you know what?
That is true.
Nice isn't what we need.
That is not true.
No, I want nice.
You are incorrect. Nice is king. The reason Lou D'Alessandro gets elected every time, no matter what, is because people think of him as grandpa.
Aw.
Uncle
Right?
Lou.
Do you know that every one of the Democrats that came up to me, I was at one poll, and this attorney who I'd never met before, he goes, you know when I fell in love with you? Not weirdly,
Yes.
but he goes, and I had decided I was voting for you. He said, when you went out on that ship and you took care of those people in New York City, he said, I knew you were going to take care of us in Congress.
Yeah.
I thought that was so sweet of
Yeah.
him. I didn't think anybody even paid attention.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
But
So
my race was pretty good. We won all three. I was actually concerned because it's a balance. Like there's a girl that just moved into town a couple of 2 or 3 years ago. Leah Cushman was running as a Republican, and then there was another girl, Jen Pellegrino. I can't pronounce her last name. She's a really nice lady. She's been in town forever. I think her kids were in soccer and the whole 9 yards. So she knew a lot of people in town. She's very popular, really nice person, and she said she was not anti-Second Amendment. So unlike your opponent, she wasn't stupid enough to stick her foot in her mouth. So I thought that we might lose one too. But it was a really strong Republican turnout in my district.
Yes, yeah.
'Cause
Dearn was good. Goffstown was really
Well,
good.
it was nice to have the president at the top of the ticket. As I stood there at the polls watching the ballots come in, and remember I was in Concord, there were stacks of them. People just straight ticket voted for down the Democrats, or they straight ticket voted down the Republicans.
Yeah.
There just happened to be a
I think
lot
that
more.
was something that took place more so in New Hampshire than other states. think
But I
we got
wish
a lot of
people wouldn't
straight
do
ticket
that.
I don't
voters
know
here.
that that's true. Well, it can't be completely true because then Corky Messner should have.
Yeah, no, I meant on that house. I mean, on the state side.
Oh, on the state side,
Because
okay.
it would deviate. You'd have President Trump, then you'd have Governor Sununu, and then the congressional seat and the Senate seat. Those would, but then they straight down, and we saw that in Cheshire County when we saw people vote for the sheriff there in the primary, and she got 4,000 votes. The anarchist, Satan worshiping.
really?
Did you see that?
Oh yeah.
Oh no, she
Yeah.
got 4,000.
She got
votes?
4,000 votes in the primary, which means somebody had to affirmatively fill in that circle.
Yeah.
And then she got another, I think she got 3,900 or close to it in the general.
Wow.
What did her opponent get?
He got more. He beat her. The Democrats took Cheshire County. I mean, Cheshire was going to win. But again, there was a write-in campaign for Earl.
Oh,
and,
okay.
And they didn't. I never even saw the write-in numbers for that. But she.
Yeah, they
got,
count the write-in ones a lot later too.
Yeah, she
there might
got
have been.
somewhere around 3,000 votes again.
Wow.
I try to tell people know your candidates. When I was in the polls, I took my phone in with me and I Googled every single person. And I'm really fortunate because I have a little database. I can also see if they got one of those weird little dots by my house that says "Stay away from that house" because they're on a list. But yeah, you just don't know until you gotta know your candidates.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But so many people just name recognition.
Yeah, a lot of it is. A lot of it is.
But and it can be bad name recognition.
It absolutely can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like in your case. No.
Yes.
That's true. That's true. She got you there.
Yeah. Well, do you know Hippler? They call him Hippie up in Ware, next to the Avon lady. He's a huge supporter of mine.
Okay.
Well, he emailed me once, and he goes, John, and I mean, he is one of the top Ware supporters I have. He says, I am very disappointed in you. I was like, oh my God, Hitler's disappointed in me. What's going on? So I responded back. I said, Hitler, what? What's going on? And then he responds back, I haven't seen you in the news in 2 weeks. And I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, I have been pretty
coming.
Yeah, I've been behaving myself.
Yeah.
Didn't they boot you off of criminal justice?
Yes, the anti-gunners, and I'm going back from what I'm hearing.
Oh,
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Good.
And depends who's
Well,
speaker.
you should have a leadership role.
What? Now, what was their excuse for kicking you off? Because they can't just say John can't come here because he's beating us up on second.
Can't they?
They usually have an excuse. Though.
Yes, what was? Oh, because I called Normando, the head of Fish and Game, former director of Fish and Game.
Yeah.
What did I call him? I called him a terrorist once.
Right.
I almost think that's what it was
Yeah.
when I called him a terrorist. And he is.
Yeah.
If you open the dictionary definition of a terrorist,
Right.
it is to use government powers to abuse the public.
Right.
That's what he does.
Yeah. Yeah. He was not a nice guy.
No. And so I just called him what he is, and
They didn't like that.
No, but what really happened is an anti-gunner that, I had my first stalker last year.
Oh, you did?
Oh, I was so excited. Yeah, it was some woman down in Hudson, and she's from
See, there you have it.
she's from California too.
Right.
Oh, I was like, sweet, I got my first stalker.
What was she doing to stalk you?
Wherever I would comment, she would jump on and just FFF, he's an FFF, and just, that's all.
Oh, no way.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And she wrote to me after I got booted off criminal justice. She says, we finally got you. We've been after the speaker for years to get you off that committee. And I'm like, oh. And she's an anti-gunner, so I knew that's what really it was.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's because, and what the straw that broke the camel's back was there was an anti-gun bill. I got 3 Democrats to go with me. Because, I try to be a nice guy. And a lot of people say I have powers. I don't think I have any power.
No, you're just friendly and you
that's it.
negotiate with people. You're
Yes.
not.
So I talked to
That's the whole deal.
Well, negotiating is important.
I talked to 3 of my Democrat friends on the committee, and I said, come on, let's talk about this. And I spent a lot of time working on this one anti-gun bill. I can't even remember what it was. And I got 3 Democrats to go with me, and we killed the bill. In Shirtliff, I heard the speaker was wildly upset. So it was right after that is when I got booted off.
I predict you guys are going to have an easier time with gun legislation because if
Yes.
if Joe Biden becomes our president, we are going to see a defunding of the police, and everybody is going to be packing their own ammunition at home.
Yeah.
Well, that you would think that, but that's not the case. You know why? There is. I was over at Tony Hook's. He said to say hi, John.
Oh, hi.
What's the name? RTW. I always get the initials wrong.
Oh, yeah.
RTD.
RTD, yeah.
Was saying that the problem is they can't get any copper, so they can't make the brass.
But I mean, the bottom line is they're all buying guns. So I went
And
to
that is another problem because most of the metal is coming from China.
and now they can't
Because
make
the
them.
Obama and Biden administration and previous administration pushed a lot of our manufacturing overseas.
Yeah. Right.
So now that we're trying to pull it back, the raw materials to create things are not there.
Yeah.
Tony can't get metal for stuff. He can't get aluminum. So all the raw materials that we used to produce in the United States are imported to the United States. So you would think that would increase if Biden gets elected.
Well, they're all sold already. You can't get your hands on any guns right now. Have you been to a gun shop recently?
Yeah, I was just here. I just said that.
I know.
I was there this afternoon.
If he takes the route that Obama took, if you remember Obama's first term, actually I think it was probably throughout his entire administration, he had all of the federal agencies buying up as much ammo as they can from every manufacturer,
constant.
and you couldn't get anything. And so you had departments of the federal government, like the Department of Agriculture, buying up hundreds of thousands of rounds of 45 and 9mm and 223, and then you got to ask yourself, why does the Department of Agriculture need that much ammo? Right? I'm sure they have security guards at their buildings in Washington D.C., but that's about it. It's not like they're a law enforcement agency. Why are all these miscellaneous? And I think we're going to see that same tactic if this goes.
Well, it's going to be worse than that too because they're going to have control of the BATF, and the BATF is already just recently about to rule that certain pistols are illegal for import. The AK-47 pistols. Then they're going to require you. They're going to change their designation so it requires a $200 tax stamp to own one, and they're going to do that with the AR pistols, and then they'll migrate to trying to get rid of the AR-15s by reclassifying them. So the BATF, the Congress has
a lot of boating accidents over the winter.
Yeah,
Congress
a lot of things get dropped in the ice.
Congress has relegated their authority to a department, Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. So if under a Biden administration, I think you will see a lot of new rules coming from the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms.
well, it's really the Harris administration
Right.
because
Really.
Biden's going to be pushed out real quick.
And the thing
within a
is,
year.
I don't
If
know
he
how
makes
much
it to
damage.
January.
Yes, that's true.
I don't know how much damage Biden/Harris administration can do before the 2022 election.
Yeah,
In which case, people will wake up, but by that time, it might be too late.
yeah.
Well, there won't be a presidential election in 22.
No, but
2022.
Congress,
Midterm.
Oh, the
Congress,
midterms,
because
yeah.
that's what happened to Obama. He went off the rails. He went wicked extreme with national health care and everything else, and people woke up and said, "Wait a second!" And they flipped the house.
Yeah.
And then Ryan got put in there, and he was like Nancy Pelosi with without the dress. That was about it. He was horrible.
Oh, and for the record, I did have that boating accident last summer, and all my, I had my guns and ammo on the boat, and everything went down.
I'm going to have an accident over the winter while ice fishing. Everything's going to end.
Oh yeah, so I have no guns.
I almost had an accident at the polls, but I got to the bathroom in time.
A little too much information there.
Oh my goodness.
I'm not a good person.
Yes, you are.
So
I'm super thrilled you guys are back in the house.
You gonna come visit us?
Yes, I live in Concord.
I know you come visit us sometimes on certain bills. You come testify and
I know.
cause trouble.
I may be causing more trouble than you.
I hope you
want.
do.
Yeah. I'm not done. I don't know why on September 9th everybody thought I, was going to no longer be a Republican. I've been more active.
No, that's
since-
only the attorney generals do that. What was it? What was that dirtbag attorney general? What's
Which
his name?
one?
The one that just flipped to support Biden right before the election. He was supposed former New Hampshire attorney general / Republican.
Oh, didn't it start with an H? I'm trying to think. Yeah, I can't remember his name.
Hiroshima.
Oh,
Yeah. No, it was, yeah.
Yeah, I forget what his name is, but he flipped right before the supposedly a good Republican
Yeah.
who.
Well,
and then there
Dupree,
was,
Steve Dupree.
Steve Dupree said this isn't about issues; it's about personality. Okay, so if you're a Republican, it's about issues. That's the only reason you're a Republican.
Yeah.
I'm not a Republican, so I can hang out with Lynne. I mean, I'd like to hang out with Lynne anyway, but that's not why I'm a Republican. I'm a Republican because I believe in certain, the right to bear arms. I believe in free speech, and et cetera, no new
Seems
taxes.
like you believe in the Constitution.
I believe in the Constitution,
Whoa,
and
whoa.
that is
Oh, boy.
that is not negotiable. And it shouldn't be.
No.
So if you're a Republican, that should be your litmus test, not whose personality you like more.
Oh, but there's a lot of people who just vote for somebody because it's their friend. And I don't want to hurt my friend's feelings.
I actually had somebody do that for me yesterday.
All right. Well, I'm glad that your friend voted for you and you're in.
a
But I
lady-
think I hijacked what you were going to ask him.
Oh yeah, you had more information about what's going on nationally.
Yes.
Well, I got a picture here. It's a delivery that took place this morning in Michigan, the Michigan State House. So that's FedEx delivering all of the 138,000 magically dropped votes this morning at 4 a.m. in Michigan.
So in
138,339 votes magically appeared this morning in Michigan, and every single one, not one, was a Trump vote.
100. So all of a sudden,
So
there's a
I gotta
ballot
think that's
dump.
statistically an anomaly.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
There's something wrong there.
Yeah.
So that was the delivery in Michigan this morning, and some miracles happened in Wisconsin. The Wisconsin voter turnout. If we look over the past 20 years with the voter turnout in Wisconsin, it's the picture with all the numbers on it. In the year 2000, Wisconsin had a 67% turnout. In 2004, they had a 73% turnout. 2008, 69%. 2012, 70%. 2016, 67%. But magically, by a miracle of God, Wisconsin had a 90% voter turnout last night. When they're very consistent at the 70 or under mark. And so the Wisconsin numbers show that they have 101% of the registered voters in Wisconsin showed up and voted.
Now, how many of them had a pulse?
We don't know. We're still working on that.
Oh.
I think that's the part we're trying to count right now. So
How many
some
were
miracles
alive?
happened, right?
So the Trump administration did ask that they're sending lawyers from New Hampshire to go to the various states. I was asked to go to Pennsylvania. I was supposed to go today, but I have to drill this weekend, so I can't go. But I think they're going to try to pull the string on some of this and see what's going on.
Well,
So
somebody has to
as
explain
somebody
some of
who-
these anomalies because these are statistical issues that they're impossibilities. They're statistical impossibilities.
Yeah.
What's taking
so
place here?
when which one was 138,000?
That was
Pennsylvania?
Michigan.
Michigan. So when somebody like you goes to Michigan and they claim to have magically found 138,000 votes or ballots that all happen to be just for Joe Biden,
For a single candidate.
how do you?
Not even any of the other third-party candidates. There were 4 candidates on the ballot.
How,
out there,
wait, how many?
and
How,
every single one of them went to one candidate.
so how as a lawyer can they actually attack that?
So, I mean, there's a standard, and I'm going to be honest with you, I don't know what the standard is. It's either going to be preponderance of the evidence or, usually reasonable doubt is safe for criminal. But they'll give us a standard, and it'll get litigated. It'll go to court, and they'll.
But the courts are all run. I mean, because George Soros has made sure the attorney generals and courts in those areas or state courts are heavily favored for Democrats.
But you can always appeal, and you can appeal all the way up to the Supreme Court, and so. And we
Yeah,
have a
but
president
once you
who.
get to the Supreme Court, you have to have a reason. You have to be ruling on the constitutionality of.
Well, the right to
these
vote's
magically
constitutional.
Exactly, but these magically
So-
found votes, and they're origin.
Right. Well, I think you can make the argument that number one, it involves a constitutional issue. So and it's definitely ripe. That's another issue. It's got to be ripe, and it is ripe. It's happening right now, and you have to have standing. And absolutely, President Trump has standing. So I don't know how it couldn't make it to the Supreme Court. I would argue.
So the Supreme Court could throw out the 138,000 votes.
I think they could. Well, we'd have to see what the ruling is going to be all the way up. I mean, whether they're going to say no, these ballots were not. First of all, they'll look to state law. In the state of New Hampshire, ballots that are not submitted by the time that the polls close, by the polling time, then the ballot doesn't count. So you have to make sure that the ballots were handled appropriately. They were in the proper chain of custody. And that they, so they either had to go in the state of New Hampshire, they get mailed back to your city clerk, right? Who then has a delivery process to the ballots, who then has a process for how they open them, and then how they check them off the checklist. And if it hasn't gone through all that process, then it hasn't met the standard. That's what I would argue. And so if they showed up late,
they showed up after midnight on election day, then
And what is
that's
Michigan? Were they talking about that on the news?
Well,
what their laws are?
I don't know. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know. And then the other thing is, were they?
We're not going to run out of time. I want to ask another one because you're educated. In Philadelphia, there were people working at the polls who had Biden-Harris face masks, hats, and there was actually signs on the walls encouraging people to vote for Biden and Harris. In the polling place.
Yeah, Senator D'Alessandro was wearing one of those masks.
Yeah, we have an electioneering statute, and our electioneering statute says that you cannot do any of that. You can't have any T-shirts, hats, masks, whatever, within a 10-foot, outside of the 10-foot identified polling area for that polling location. So you can't wear them in. So when I was poll watching or poll challenging, anybody who had a mask on, Trump, Biden, whatever, I would just go ask them to turn it inside out,
right,
to finish voting. And several people challenged me, and I pulled the RSA up on my phone, and I said, "This is for all people, and I'm sorry, but it's the law here." So I don't know what Pennsylvania.
So Pennsylvania, that's not a federal thing. So that's a state.
I don't know if there's a federal electioneering
No,
statute. I'd have to
state.
look, but I know the states have them.
But Pennsylvania had a whole bunch of issues just like that. So they had Biden signs inside the polling areas. They were passing out Biden literature to folks who were showing up. Here's your ballot. Here's a Biden pamphlet. And then there's video. It's horrifying video of an election challenger with his paperwork signed by the state, showing up to a poll and being told, "No, you can't come inside. That doesn't work here. We don't recognize that poll watching certificate." And he was turned away. And yet inside, folks were being coached on who to vote for when they were handed their ballot. They had signs. They had folks were wearing "I Can't Breathe" and BLM T-shirts and Biden posters. I don't know if this is the same state that had Black Panthers standing outside the polls during the election for Obama.
Mm-hmm. So. Well, if they were letting Black Lives Matter shirts in, then I was like, you have to let "Make America Great," because that's just a slogan.
Yeah, exactly.
That is not President Trump. If you're wearing, a Trump hat, or you're wearing a Trump T-shirt, or a Biden T-shirt, or a Biden Harris, or something, but if they were going to let BLM come through, then we were going to let MAGA come through.
Yeah, I know that I screwed up. Well, no, that's what I had. I had "Make America Great," because I was very cold. I waited till the afternoon when it calmed down to go in and vote, and the lady came up and said, "You got to take your hat off," and I totally forgot I had it on.
You were outside, campaigning.
I was out campaigning
in the correct place.
In the correct
forgetting
hole.
that you have a hat on in the middle of the winter is not a crime.
But everybody, the ones that I challenged, they made the free speech argument, and I was like, just sorry, but I like your hat. But to be honest, by the time you stood there in the middle of the polling place, you challenged the person, everybody now sees you talking, you pull up the RSA, you say out very loudly several times, I'm sorry, but your hat says President Trump. You know, I mean, everybody's heard it and seen it anyway.
Right.
It would be better just to go in and not say anything at all, honestly, because most people probably wouldn't have even noticed.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyway, folks, John, congratulations.
Yes. Thank
Yes,
you.
and you as
Lynn,
well.
you got to run for something. You got to run for governor or
I'm going to run for women empowerment.
okay.
I'm
And
gonna
John,
stand
I'm
strong for
expecting you
that.
to get up on the House floor and nominate me
Yes,
for hall monitor.
yes. And I am going to yell out the first roll call, of course.
Roll call.
Firearms familiarity and hunter safety required for all
Oh,
legislators.
Yes,
wait.
constitutional carry.
Constitution.
So my list has got to also include making sure that the redistricting is proper.
Yes, thank
Then-
God.
Oh, if you guys have got control over
Thank
that, make
God
sure
you-
it's
Yes.
fair.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't want any of the,
Yeah.
what do they call that? They call
Jury-
it
Gerrymandering.
Jerry-
That's
No.
what the
Yeah.
Democrats were lining
Yeah.
it up.
Yeah.
Is it
These
Jerry
districts
or
that arc over and have this little
why is it
curve. and-
gerrymander? Why is it Jerry? What does that word mean?
Oh, I used
I don't
to
know where that
I always
used to
thought it
know.
was
I have to go to the
gerrymandering.
good
Somebody
word.
did
that
tell
made
me
almost
why.
It's
sense.
gerrymandering, yeah.
Yeah.
So why is it? What's the word?
Oh, I used to know why
Come
it was called
on,
gerrymandering.
Lynn. That's why we need educated people on the
Oh,
show.
my brain is full
We're
right
gonna
now.
go. Next time, we'll talk about it.
About
right.
Jerry?
About, we just don't have time.
All right. We'll see you
Next
guys
time
next
you're on.
week.
Bye.